Hello, I'm Jim Demlin with Clark County Close-Up. Thank you for meeting with us.
It's good to be here.
Okay, first, congratulations on your new position. When did you start?
I started on July 10th. I know that date because that's my birthday.
Ah.
So I started my birthday.
Okay. So before we talk about your priorities as the interim county manager, let's talk about your background. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Spokane, Washington.
Okay.
Lots of years in the state of Washington. Grew up there, went to the UW, University of Washington, from there, and somehow I ended up in Southern California. My first job, I guess you'd call it a job after college, was in the VISTA program. That's like the Peace Corps, only domestically. I served in East LA as a planner.
So did that kind of get your motivation for going into public service?
I think, growing up in the 60s was all about making positive changes, making a difference, and I think the VISTA job was the first big step towards that. Went to grad school in LA after that, and then was ready for a big career job, and that's when I got into local government.
Okay, so tell us a little about what positions you kind of held in local government.
Went back home to Spokane and started working for the county there, which is, fast forward to today, served me well, and worked for the county commissioners in Spokane. It's a long time ago, although a lot of the things are the same. Spent 7 years there as the budget director. Moved into on the west side of the state in Port Angeles. Told my wife we'd be there 5 years, and we were there 15 years, and she's still talking about it. So it was I was the county administrator there. Again, very related to the role that I'm in currently. So that was, I don't know about the math, 23 years in local government in the state of Washington. Took a crazy turn and moved to Arizona and started working for cities there. First of all was the assistant city manager in Surprise, Arizona, which is in the Phoenix metro area.
Okay.
And 2 years after I was hired, my boss got fired. I got promoted, city manager, Surprise, Arizona. Surprise, when I got there, was about 30,000 people, and when I left as city manager, about 110,000. So it like more than doubled, close to tripled.
How long were you there?
And 7 years.
7 years? Oh my goodness.
There was 1 year that there were 9,000 homes built in the city limits. It's, this is the Phoenix metro area. This is a fringe suburb, so Phoenix from time to time will just explode. It's kind of a boom-bust city, and that was one of those times. So we went from 300 employees to 800 employees.
Wow, that's
so it was exciting. It was an exciting place to be.
Yeah.
Talk about making a difference.
Sure.
Providing all the services, fire, police, sewer, water, parks, a lot of really interesting projects there. So and then I had the ability to retire. I guess it was more of a technical retiring, and then moved into interim management like I'm doing with Clark County. This is my 5th assignment that I've been on. I've done some part-time work, done some interim work, and so it's really good to be here in Clark County.
Okay. Just in case our viewers aren't up to date, so after the county council decided not to renew the contract with former county manager Mark McCauley in early May, the council contracted with the executive search firm for an interim. And so can you tell then, how were you selected for this position?
So, it's one of those principles of you never know what's going to happen when you wake up in the morning. And I had a part-time job with the city in the Phoenix metro area doing economic development. And my wife gives me a call, and she goes, I got a crazy call from a recruiter from the state of Washington, wanted your cell phone number, so he's going to be calling you. There's a job in Vancouver, Washington, working for the county. I'm like, huh. And the recruiter I knew from my years in Washington State. And within an hour, Greg Prothman called me. Greg does executive recruitments for cities throughout Washington, Oregon, and some other states. And we talked about old times, and they explained the position. And it was just one of those where the stars aligned. The job that I had in Arizona, I take the summers off.
Okay.
So I had the summer available. We spent our summers in Seattle, where we have grandkids and a son and brothers and sisters. And in fact, my wife's sister lives here in Vancouver.
Oh, okay.
So this is all just this perfect,
Perfect.
situation. And so I said, I would be interested. So Greg arranged for an interview, and I came up and chatted with the county council, and it just seemed to be a really good fit.
Great. So now, are you an employee of the county or the executive search firm?
I'm an employee of the executive search firm.
Okay. And so now, what's the role of the interim county manager?
So that was during the interview. I asked the county council, what are your priorities? What do you want me to do? And we talked about it a little bit during the interview, and then we expanded upon that after I came on board. And I developed a work plan. After about 2-3 weeks, I came up with a work plan for the county council, and there are 5 items on the work plan. The first one is to get the organization, get the staff, get the council ready for the new permanent county manager.
Okay.
And one key ingredient in that is to talk about the role of the county manager. There's been a change in the county charter. The wording is not very complex. A good discussion on that was really necessary. So we've had 3 work sessions talking about that, and so we're getting that solidified, and it's kind of a work in progress. So that's one thing, is getting the organization ready, which includes there's a recruiter was hired to do the recruitment for the permanent county manager, and that's in motion. They're making progress on that. So that's the first thing. Second thing related to that is succession planning. The county has a lot of long-term employees, long-term upper-level employees. So we're working on, especially with HR, to come up with a way to make sure when those people leave, we'll continue the good service that we do. Some other things, being a little more proactive with legislation, with the state legislature. Another topic is some of the claims we've had, lawsuits, is try to get a handle on that, try to minimize those. Some risk management things. Maybe I'm leaving one out, but those are the things that come to mind. So that's my role, is to work on those projects, and then serve as the head of the executive branch of Clark County.
Because really, you're overseeing all the county employees, and you report directly to the county council.
We report to the county council. Now, the unique thing about county government is there are a number of elected offices.
That's correct. Right.
And then you have the judicial branch with the district court, the superior court, and they have a lot of staff there. So probably the largest office is the sheriff's office, where you have between the jail and the patrol, the civil division, a very large number of employees, and they're under the umbrella of the county, but not the reporting authority through the county manager. So I'm just going to arbitrarily say, a third of the organization is accountable to independently elected offices. So it's kind of a different hierarchy of organization, different than, say, like a city of Vancouver.
Sure. So you mentioned that let's get back to transition. So going into this, you talked to the council. How else have you been kind of getting into this role?
Well, working with the council is really a key part of the job, but also working with the appointed department heads and setting up expectations. So that was something I did. The first day, set out expectations to them. I meet with them at least on a monthly basis, where we formally sit down and they have a work plan. What's the progress on that work plan? How are things going? How can I help them, make them be successful? So kind of 2 sides of it. The the policy board, and then working with the operations of the organization. So, probably the first task was just to meet people, put names and faces, and learn, who's who
Sure.
throughout the organization. So I think I've gotten over there. I'm in month 3 now, so I've probably met, maybe 400 or 500 people during that time. So,
have you been meeting with community groups?
it's mainly been internal.
Okay.
As I mentioned, like this morning I had a meeting with the Vancouver city manager, but it's mainly been an internal focus.
Okay. How long do you anticipate serving in this position?
Well, as I mentioned, there's a recruiter on board to recruit the permanent county manager. And this week, the council is finalizing the recruitment material, so they'll be officially on the street here probably in another week, and it'll be a couple months after that when there'll be a deadline and some screening, and then there'll be final interviews probably towards the end of the year. My prediction, I want to be on board until they get a new person. It'll probably be at least till the end of the year that I'll be on board.
Okay. So though it wasn't one of your top 5, what's the current financial status of the county?
That might have been the one I forgot.
Yeah, it could be.
The current, in fact, we're working on the budget right now.
Okay.
We're on a calendar year budget, so we're really gearing up, reviewing proposals from all the departments and offices. The current, I would say we're stable at this point. The economy's been good. The 2 main sources of income for our general fund are property taxes and sales tax. And sales tax, it's good. People are spending money. We're kind of recovering from the recession. Property tax is fixed. There's a lot of limits on property taxes. The county council has the ability to, or the option to increase it 1% over the prior year, and that's optional. There have been years where that's happened. There have been years where it hasn't happened. So, with other costs, just utilities, operating costs, they usually go up more than 1% or staying flat. So, the challenge is this year we're probably going to be okay, stable. But in the future, the long-term future, it's a challenge to continue the services in the way we're currently doing them and with the current income. So if there is a dip in the economy, mainly in sales tax, there could be problems. Okay. And probably a unique thing about county government in the finances of it, one of our main services, the judicial justice system, is kind of an invisible service. For the average citizen, you rarely come in contact with the judicial justice system. I learned a long time ago, working in the courthouse, that if you see a friend or neighbor, to be cautious. It's usually they're there, their child is before the juvenile court. They're visiting someone in jail. It's usually a challenging time for them.
Sure.
But that service, the average person rarely has contact with the courts. It's a unique experience for folks. But there's a lot of resources tied up there.
Very expensive.
That's serving the public very well, but in an invisible way. Things are handled like the jail, the courts, the criminal prosecution. Juvenile detention, those things are off most people's radar, but do take staff resources to run.
Okay. What are your early impressions of Clark County government?
I'm very impressed with the employees. There's a lot of long-term employees there that have a great amount of knowledge and expertise, just their long-term history with the organization. They just know where, everything is placed in the history on particular issues. So I'm in place with that. I mean, it's stable. The people are committed to the organization. People are very loyal. The employees are very loyal to Clark County government. I'm impressed with the county council. They have a very unique ability to differ in their opinions and be agreeable in that interchange, and that's that's really the sweet spot you want in an elected board, is to be able to diplomatically give their opinions and disagree, and then be able to talk about other issues in a very cordial way, and they do that very well.
Good. Is there anything else you'd like to share with viewers about the county?
Well, a little bit again on that invisible services, that you're getting a big bang for your buck in terms of a lot of things that do happen that you don't see, mainly in the judicial justice system, but also in the maintenance of our roads, and solid waste oversight of solid waste collection, wastewater disposal. These aren't real sexy services, but they're provided, and they're there when you need them, and you probably don't even notice them, but they're all provided by the fine employees of Clark County government.
Okay. So if people want to be able to reach you, they can reach you through the county councilor's office?
Through the county councilor's office. In fact, on the website, there is a place to find the county manager.
Okay.
So you go to the Clark County government website. And
clark.wa.gov, and we'll put it on the screen, and the phone number 397-2232.
Correct.
Remember
Very
that
good.
360 area code.
Very good, yes.
Well, thank you very much for meeting with us, and best of luck to you.
My pleasure to be here.